What up, folks? What it do? Welcome to another episode of the Best Advice Ever podcast with your boy, Mickety, Mike Goodwin, man, the bowtie comedian. This week is significant because it's Super Bowl Sunday that just passed. So typically, I know most people listen to this on Wednesday, but the Super Bowl was on Sunday. And the way I typically start the podcast is the On the Road Again segment. I actually was on the road in the location where I should have been last week. Yeah, if you've not listened to last week's podcast, go take a look. Go take a gander. I messed up. Screw the pooch. Made a boo-boo. My bad, right? Well, I had a rescheduled show from the show that should have happened on February the 1st. We rescheduled it for February the 10th. I think that's the date. Last Friday night. Would that be the 10th? I'm not great with dates. 9th. February the 9th. Burlington, North Carolina. Now, look, let's say this. Let me be clear about this in the beginning. I loved Burlington, North Carolina. Just the vibe, the downtown. It just seemed, and I said this at the show, it felt like a souped up Mayberry, right? I was thoroughly impressed. And I go to a lot of places. I've been to a lot of towns and cities and townships and Commonwealth, all the areas, provinces. Oh no, man, Burlington did it for me. Like I could legit see myself like taking a weekend and me and my wife going to Burlington, North Carolina. Now, I am a fan of colleges. Y'all know I love colleges. And I hadn't done the research, but Elon is not that far from Burlington. And I love that. I love a small college town. I love a small college with the stuff. Like, so Elon has the stuff. I went to Lander. Lander kind of has the stuff. We don't have the football. Greenwood is thriving. It's been thriving since I've graduated. But if you go back to Greenwood when I was in school, it was a little underwhelming in terms of the activities and the word I want to say is the and I just had the word robust. I didn't feel like Greenwood was very robust in terms of offerings, opportunities, hotels, jobs. You know, there were things that, again, that's 20 years ago. So it's much different now. It's much different now on campus. There's a Chick-fil-A, there's a Starbucks, there's a smoothie place. I'm thinking Lander now, modern day, would probably fit some of what I would have been looking for. And it fit a lot of it. Like, I fit a lot of it. And the reason for me that I was at Lander was I didn't do well academically. Like, my wife, that's not the case. My wife did very well academically and was offered a pretty sizable scholarship. She worked at a local doctor's office. So she had the things that could help accompany her education. So in her case, you know, Lander checked the boxes. I would have wanted just a little bit more as it relates to a social scene, a chess club. Now, again, there may have been a chess club in Greenwood at the time. I didn't find it. I probably looked around for one for a minute and it was like, yeah, I don't see it. I'm good. But modern day Greenwood, very, very impressive. Because I mean, one thing I used to say when I was in school, there's a lot of places to eat. You can find somewhere to eat in Greenwood, and I'm thinking more about the arts and the opportunities. That I guess Burlington, to me, their downtown was just situated in such a manner where there was a theater, there were restaurants, and Greenwood has a downtown. It's just disjointed. It's not connected to the campus. And it doesn't feel inviting. Like you're not very, it didn't shout out to like, hey man, come kick it down here. Like in Columbia, there's a variety of places. I think the college place you would say would be 5 Points, but you can go to the Vista. You can go to downtown. You can go on campus or at least close to campus. Again, not trying to compare Columbia to Greenwood. I'm just thinking that a Burlington, North Carolina would have been the type of place that I really like. Wow, I enjoy. Like Davison. Davison is a great example of a small college town. Clinton, not so much. I think Clinton has grown up a little bit. I think Clinton to me always kind of felt super small. It didn't feel very accessible. Like there wasn't much there. Greenwood had stuff. You could go to the grocery store and you could go to the movies. I don't even know exactly what it is that I'm trying to put my finger on. I think Rock Hill may be similar in terms of the offerings, but what is beneficial to Rock Hill, Charlotte's right there. So if you can't get it in Rock Hill, which I think you can get a lot of it in Rock Hill, you can go to Charlotte. And I think maybe that's the case with Burlington and Greensboro. Maybe Burlington, you got a nice little situation. But if you want to soup it up a little bit, you want to go to North Carolina A&T homecoming, you could float over there to Greensboro. You want to go to the Greensboro Civic Center, catch a ACC tournament game. You could do that. So that's why I think maybe there's nothing in that regard for Greenwood. Really, Greenwood is that for other people. Like if you're at Erskine and you want to get some more juice, you want to go to the Walmart, you want to watch a movie, you got to come to Greenwood. Abbeville is the same. If you're in Abbeville, you come over to Greenwood for the juice. I want it to be in a place that you could go and get the juice. And I think Greenville probably is the juice for Greenwood, but it's farther than I want to. I desire to drive in a. So yeah, similar to that, I think the juice is one of those things. Like Davison's not very far. Well, right a couple of X's up in Charlotte. You got Burlington, not very far from Greensboro, and I think maybe that. But I love a college town. I love a small college town, and Burlington was that, man. Like I was so impressed. I didn't even stay very long. It's a place I can see myself returning. So I did the show. I apologize to the people profusely. Now, what was very interesting? This is the show that a week ago I was not in the place where I should have been. So I made it this time. I made it. Time to spare. I'm getting my stuff set up, grabbing things out of my car, and I knew immediately I didn't bring a bow tie. I did not bring a bow tie. So here I am, Burlington show that I missed a week ago. Now I'm finally here. Now I don't have a bow tie. Now, I didn't hit a high level of panic because Burlington, again, smooth downtown, like a little bustling entrepreneurial area. So I'm thinking there's clearly going to be a haberdashery on one of these shops. I mean, it's just a bunch of shops. Surely there's somebody that's selling some bow tie. I mean, this is the perfect place to sell a bow tie. I would even get an Elon bow tie. Like if it just had Elon on the bow tie, it didn't matter. I just needed a bow tie. Guess what? No bow ties. Not only was there not a place to buy bow ties, if there would have been a place, the owners would have left. Because apparently on Friday, that's how it was in Lander. If people that worked at Lander back in the day when I went to school, they had like some type of benefit for the staff that you got off at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was a ghost town. Like, I don't know which president. I think it might have been President Ball that came and got rid of that. It was like, yo, man, this is a college, bro. Y'all gonna be open to 5. Like, yo, dude, Friday at Lander after 12 o'clock. And then you wonder, like, why are people leaving campus? Yeah, because you got stuff closed. You give us this. This is a culture you've created. Dry campus, half days on Friday. Even the basketball game, because homecoming was this weekend. I didn't even get there. Went to a homecoming game and they used to just play Jimmy Buffett songs. Why should I listen to Cheeseburger in Paradise? But now they playing the songs. They playing the ushers and all the things. But it's 20 years later. However, let's go back to Greensboro. Not Greensboro, Burlington. No bow tie. And at this point, we're like 6:30-ish. Maybe 6:20. Show starts at 7. Well, maybe like 6:15, because they were like, hey, the closest is like a mall. It's like 15 miles away. And I'm just like, man, that's cutting it too close. Now. And I'm looking crazy. And what's also crazy, so I have my guy, Rich Hughes, who I've hired to open for me a number of times. I told him he was there last week when he was supposed to be, and he was there the next week. But he tells me that, man, he had bought a bow tie to give me as a gift to say, hey, man, thanks for, having me on the show. He said he drove a different car. He left the bow tie in his wife's car. I'm like, yo. But what I did do, a younger version of myself, at some point, I took some bow ties and I put it in my book bag. I don't remember that. I do not remember it at all. I must have known that, hey, man, at some point, I might be out here bad without a bow tie. I need to have a bow tie available. So in the back of my book bag, there are 2 bow ties stuffed down. Again, and I had no clue. I wasn't like, oh, I got some emergency bow ties in my bag. I just happened to stick my hand in there because it was like, I'm thinking, hopefully I planted a seed in my mind that, hey, if I ever forget a bow tie, check the back of your book bag. There were 2 bow ties there. I came in through the clutch. Now, it wasn't the bow ties, because what happened, I got a particular, I do, with people in my gym, they roast me pretty good because they keep talking about, there's a particular blazer that I enjoy wearing, especially partly the past year. And it was not that I just enjoyed wearing it. I had gained weight, so the blazers didn't. They fit too snug. And they was giving me all kind of grief about wearing this blazer all the time. Well, for the show on Thursday, I was like, hey, man, let's get a new blazer in the game. And that's what I did. I grabbed the blazer that I typically have not been wearing on stage. I had in my mind the bow tie to grab. I did not grab the bow tie. I got the blazer, I got the shirt, I had the slacks, the jeans, whatever I was wearing, the shoes. No bow tie. So then, like I said, I checked my bag, bow ties in the bag. Problem averted. But now I'm going to be like super duper. I'm going to put bow ties in my car. I'm going to put bow ties in my toiletry bag. Like any place I could slide a bow tie, I'm going to have some Easter egg hidden in one of them times if I'm in a spot. I'm like, yo, I left my bow tie. There's only one other time I left my bow tie. And I was going to Greensboro. Matter of fact, I remember stopping in Greensboro. Nope, I was going to a place outside of is a college called Averitt College or Everett College that is on the other side of Danville, Virginia. You got to go through Greensboro. I'm driving to this gig. Remember, holy smokes, I didn't bring a bow tie. I remember as I'm coming into Greensboro, I hit my dude Tim Sharpshire. He was living in Greensboro at the time. And I just happened to remember, on that drive. And I remembered, I stopped at the mall, bought a bow tie, kept it moving. Haven't had that scenario that I can remember again. I've lost belts. Matter of fact, the belt I have on now is a belt. I did a restaurant show, and the owner bought this belt. He said it wasn't a belt that he wore regularly, and it's perfect belt. Cufflinks. I've done shows without cufflinks, so somebody had to bring some cufflinks. That's why I have some silk knots in my toiletry bag. I have silk knots in my bag somewhere. Got cufflinks, collar stays. They socks. I don't have any socks anywhere, but typically, oh man. So all the things. Here I am finally in Burlington. I'm thinking everything's sweet. I left the bow tie. No bow tie. However, unbeknownst to me, I stashed a couple bow ties in my bag and they were there. Now, this is also different because I'm being more intentional, and I probably talk about this a lot, of capturing my stand-up footage. Like, the main thing that makes this work is my content. And I probably need to make this a podcast episode. And this is definitely a best advice ever. But this is on some business type growth scale entrepreneurship. I had a guy recently reach out about, do I have a formal mentoring program? And I don't, but I'm thinking I probably need to put something together. I've worked with speakers to help them in their communication ability and skills, but I can help a comedian, that the right ones, the ones that have have a desire to excel, and maybe in an unorthodox way. Again, back to missing the show last week. I was talking to a comedian buddy of mine. He was like, "Hey man, you know who wouldn't have missed that show? A broke comedian." So I've surpassed being a broke comedian. I'm not overly concerned about money. That's not like what the motivation is to accept gigs, turn down gigs. Like, I'm saying no at a pretty high rate for opportunities. I'm able to say, no, I'm a pass on that. We just got on a call with the folks that helped me with my social media to talk about merchandising. And right now I sell t-shirts. It's a little mom and pop situation. But what the gentlemen are talking about is like expanding it. Hats, mugs, t-shirts, like real legitimate merchandising that is outside of my hands, and I'm excited about it. So I am very mindful of what it takes to excel and do well and to flourish in a particular genre, especially flourish in what I'm doing. Kind of forgot what led me down that train of thought. But yeah, that's kind of where we are with On the Road. And then the Super Bowl just recently happened. I had no dog in that fight. I enjoyed the Super Bowl. My son asked me, basically, was I interested in the Super Bowl, because some folks at church were just saying that they wanted to watch the Usher show, halftime presentation, whatever. I'm like, no, I've always been interested in the Super Bowl. Even like my team, I ain't gonna say I'm a Vikings fan. If there's a team that I would cheer for, it's the Vikings. But yeah, Vikings haven't been in no Super Bowl. I mean, I think we made it to the NFC NFC championship game a few times in my existence. I remember one time we lost to the Falcons, and then they went and got buzzsawed. Funny thing about that Super Bowl. It is not funny, but it just always stands out, rings out. Well, they give a NFL Man of the Year award to a player. Well, that particular year, there was a player that was announced as the NFL Man of the Year. I'm not going to say this guy's name. I don't know this gentleman. This is public record. You can go and find it. It's not very difficult. This man was named the NFL Man of the Year like that Saturday. Week of the Super Bowl, he's caught in a car with a prostitute on Monday. Bruh, what are we doing out here? Well, I know what I'm doing. I'm about to share what you've been waiting for, the best advice ever. The best advice ever is, this is something I thought about. I went back to homecoming, spent time fellowshipping with former classmates, fraternity brothers, Lander University, which is very interesting. No football. And typically our homecoming festivities revolve around a basketball game, and they have some other events. Maybe a baseball game goes on. They mistakenly last year, I know they did this last year, moved it to the fall. They were like, hey, let's switch it up a little bit. Let's move the homecoming to the fall. Epic fail. Who wants to stand around in the cold, freezing, tailgating? No football game. There's no game. So what are we coming back to do? What are we doing? At least now, one of the things that used to be an issue for our homecoming was the CIAA tournament that was held in North Carolina. I don't think that schedule conflicted recently, and I think the CIAA has since been moved to Baltimore. Used to be in Charlotte. It's like all the HBCUs, like the HBCU March Madness, so to speak. That has been a conflict of schedules for some folks, but I don't think that was the case this particular weekend. Well, the best advice ever I'll share, and then I'll get into this other stuff, is simply, I wrote it down, allow the people in your life to evolve. Like, stop holding friends and family members, acquaintances hostage to their past. And and I think we do it so easily that it's a little frustrating. Like, man, like even like so a great example of this, I go back to this homecoming. I've been out of my college. I graduated from my college 2001. It's a Jordan year for me. Like, I've been going from this place as a active student for 23 years. And what's wow is my behavior, right? We'll go back and we're hanging out and we're looking at the young ones like, oh my God, it's so different. Look at this, that. Hey man, it's been 23 years. I remember buying video games for my son after 23 years of not playing video games. It's different. They've done a bunch of different stuff. So no knock on these young ones, even though there's a lot to knock them on, just some culture type stuff. Just like when I was in college, Cass was like putting on clothes, getting dressed. These cats look like, I said this to a friend of mine recently, like the college students look like the locals. Like back when I was in school, you could tell. You're like, oh man, that dude ain't in school. He just lives here. He's from this place. He's on campus hanging out because he lives here. He doesn't attend classes. Like, the college kids look like locals. This array, this no get up and go. Like, where's that sauce, man? Where's that, especially that black excellence, especially for young black students at our school? Like, there was a level of like prestige and honor. Like, yo, I'm in college. Yo, you put your chest up a little bigger. Man, sheesh. But separate from that, allow people in your life to evolve. I had a fraternity brother of mine. I was at the cookout at the tailgate, and he don't eat meat. The brother don't eat right now, and I don't know how long this has been for. I don't know all the details about it, but the brother doesn't eat chicken. He doesn't eat, hamburger, beef, red meat, probably, but he eats fish. And so, how aggravating would it be for him to, he and I talk. We talk regularly. He actually listens to the podcast. But how aggravating would it be for him to come back to homecoming with a friend? Like, this is a friend, this is a guy, I've known him 23 years. And he like, yo, if they got any some other options, I don't eat meat. And then I'm like, what? You don't eat meat? Come on, man. What wrong with you? And like, just like, yo, I see you once a year. I mean, we see each other more than once a year, but bro, we're not gonna spend all this time talking about my dietary preferences, man. Like, yeah, I don't eat meat. They ain't got nothing to do with you. I eat fish. Are we having fish? Yeah, there probably gonna be some fish there. But like, for me to go back and forth with this man about his life choices and me not allowing him to evolve and to say, man, boy, you used to throw back chicken wing. Yeah, just two things could be true. But at this moment in time, my man doesn't eat meat. And I think it would be very frustrating for him to be around people and people keep bringing up, yo, you used to be the meat eater of the year, yo. Or like, I got a buddy, a friend of mine, and he would do this to me all the time. Like, we were having a conversation about the NBA, and he'll be like, man, you remember when you said that Jordan was the best person in the, he'll make some statement, and I'll be like, nah. He was like, man, that was like in 2018 you said that, man. How you gonna forget? And I'm like, because I'm growing. My ideas and thoughts and preferences, I'm changing. And I get it. Like, there needs to be some level of consistency. You just can't just be out here just saying any kind of thing. But I'm just like, man, that's how, whatever I was talking about at that time, maybe that's how I felt. And since that time, I don't feel the same way. It's different. I've changed. And so don't hold people hostage, man, to your version of them. Like, allow them to evolve, allow them to grow. I think my wife is a great example. Like, well, last time I asked, well, I ain't the last time. Give me the benefit of the doubt that I'm different. I'm changing. I'm growing. I'm not the Mike Goodwin that you met in 1998 on Landis campus. Like, I'm a version of that guy. Like, I'm still a guy, but I'm not him. I didn't have a wife and children and a career which I'm trying to grow and scale. I was finding my way in the world. But why would you make that guy the biggest guy? I mean, even relationships in my personal life, people like holding grudges and, you said this thing, and when this thing happened, I never got over it. It's just like, yo, man, I'm on some Anita Baker. I apologize. Oh, believe me, I'm true. I apologize. And I know I was wrong. But at this stage, and not the but to like X that out, I was wrong. However, I've since grew, and my fraternity brother I was just talking about with the meat stuff. I'm different. I was angry Mike back then, man. Bro, if you wanted smoke, I was the smoke stack. I came with the smoke, but I since learned that, man, that ain't the way. That's not where that's not the type of memory I want people to have. This girl told me this weekend about the first time she met me. It was the smoke. I was an RA, and these girls were pranking one of my residents, and I caught them. And I was like, they were putting some undergarments on this gentleman's door, and I was just like, if y'all don't get y'all behinds away from, take those rusty, dusty drawers with you. Y'all don't know that man like that to be playing and putting, that's so she brought. I don't remember it. I can agree that sounds like something I was do. I try to protect my people. I look out for my people. I knew like, these girls down here playing. And then if a lady friends of his comes over and there's some panties on the door, like y'all done caused the whole big World War III over y'all being silly. I told them, man, get y'all up out of here. Well, yeah. That's what it is, man. Just don't allow yourself to be a prisoner of people. Let people be free. Give them freedom, man. Let them grow. Let them make mistakes. Let them be different than how you remember them or how they were. Life changes, man. We should grow. People will tell you all the time, oh, I am not different. Ain't nothing different. No, I'm different. You acted different. Yes, I should be acting different. I'm different. I'm not the same. I'm going to act different. And what is different is this is the end of the show, man. This is the end of the show. I get so caught up, man. I get caught up at the beginning, and on the road just takes over. And so here I am moving some of the conversations I wanted to have. Now, this probably make no sense to move this, so I need to talk about quickly. What you're not going to do is charge me $391 a night to get a regular hotel room at the Super Bowl. That's the issue. At the Super Bowl prices, they had pre-Super Bowl, Super Bowl's in Vegas. The ticket prices, hotels typically on average were $161 prior to the Super Bowl. The week of the Super Bowl, on average, $391. Also, the average Super Bowl ticket, $8,000. So the range between $10,000 to $12,000 for a Super Bowl ticket. But y'all don't want to pay me to come tell these jokes? Come on, man. What you're not going to do is be paying $8,000 for Super Bowl experience, and you're not going to pay me for my jokes. I'm going to talk about in a future one the ice sculpture that I discovered. I'm going to make a note of that, and I'll tell y'all the ice sculpture story. However, this is the end of the podcast, man. It went a little bit longer than I typically have been. I've been doing pretty good keeping it under 30, and even if I got to 30, we were wrapping it up. But, man, y'all know how I do it, how I get down. Hopefully this has been value. I'm all about providing value, entertainment, inspiration, man. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Best Advice Ever podcast. Subscribe, like, share. Follow me on social media at Bowtie Comedy. Come out to a Big Dad Energy tour date. I'm my upcoming dates: Toledo. I'll be in Richmond, Virginia. I'll be in Virginia Beach. I'll be in Marietta, Georgia. I'm coming to Nashville. I'm coming to Huntsville. So please get your tickets. I want to see your face in the place. But this is the end of the podcast. So I'll see you next bat channel, next bat time. Same time, same place. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate it. See you next time. Peace.